Okay, listen up, ladies. A fifth white man has something to say. On Friday? I want to say Friday. What day was International Women's Day? I don't know. Ladies, you all know, don't you? You've all got it marked down on your calendars, haven't you? Tell me in the comment, what day was International Women's Day? But it really doesn't matter. The other day, the patriarchy decided that it was the International Women's Day. You're welcome. And I'm going to do this video to mark International Women's Day. You're welcome. We're going to take a look at a resurfaced interview from Channel 4 with Germaine Greer, who not so long ago was considered a radical feminist, but now is considered some kind of right-wing demon. It says a lot about society. It really does. Makes you think, doesn't it? But before we get into it, I need to ask you why you think it's okay to watch my videos, 55% of you, and not subscribe. It's not okay. Where would we be as a society in 2023 if it weren't for male allies like myself sticking it to the patriarchy? Strong male feminists who are not in any way behaving like smaller male cuttlefish, imitating the females to get closer to them. They can't fight off the big macho cuttlefish. That's not what male feminists are. I guess what I'm trying to say is subscribe to the channel, please. Now let's get on with the feminism.
Now, gender can be anything you like. It's entirely cultural. But unfortunately, sex is not entirely cultural. It's something you're born with, whether you like it or not.
No! First J.K. Rowling, now Germaine Greer.
Why? Why, God?
Sex is something you're born with, you vile turf. So, is it a boy or a girl? We'll let the kindergarten teacher decide that, ma'am.
And most of us who grow up to be women, who have our first period, 12, 13, 14, whatever, traumatizing otherwise, a body we thought we knew becomes smelly and dirty and different. And then the boys come along who've been watching pornography and say that we're not groomed, we have to remove our body hair and so on. We're going to spend our lives removing body hair. That's femininity, which is the fake version of femaleness.
Are you sure about that, Germaine Greer?
Let's first talk tampons. I haven't talked about tampons on here lately because I don't use them. I'm a woman who doesn't have a uterus. I know this. And science was my strongest subject in high school.
It's science, Germaine.
Yes, science!
Female is real and it's sex, and femininity is unreal and it's gender.
Olay, every day. SPF, that's just my way. Getting sun, I'm going cray. Olay.
Well, that looked both very feminine and very real, Germaine. I don't know.
And it's a role you play.
Olay, oh slay.
And for that to become the given identity of women is a profoundly disabling notion.
Okay, on a serious note here, Germaine Greer does actually make some interesting points here. And I'm not sure exactly what I think about it, because she starts to go on about how femininity is totally cultural. And in a way, she's kind of right. We have kind of expectations of what femininity is, what it means to be a woman, how women are supposed to behave, and all that kind of thing. But it's really a chicken and egg question, isn't it? Because it's like, do women behave like that because of the culture, or is the culture like that because that's something genetic in that? It's probably a bit of both, isn't it? You know? Neither one nor the other totally, but somewhere in the middle. Isn't it? Nature versus nurture and all that stuff. I think this is probably why I couldn't be an academic in any subject, really. Not because I'm not intelligent enough. Okay, that's not the reason. But I think I have this thing where it's like, I just scratched the surface of something and I'm like, yeah, I get the idea, let's move on. I got the gist of it. I understand feminism now.
Don't you feel that you'd be able to spend more time on all of those questions if you just moved on from this trans question and said, okay, fine, if you want to join us as women, then you're women. Come and join us in the bigger struggles.
Yeah, ladies, why won't you let us join in your game? Get over it already. Right on, Krishnan and Guru Murphy. I'd expect no less from Channel 4.
Well, they're not going to help us much with postpartum psychosis, are they? Or even with menstrual discomfort. Or, I think we can manage. You know, we are 51% of the population, and we're being held to ransom by a handful of people who are extremely vocal and aggressive.
So I think what Germaine Greer is trying to say here, because I think, let me just explain this to you ladies, okay? I'm going to mansplain a little bit here, right? I'm going to break it down for you, because, you know, maybe you didn't quite catch it. Anyway, yeah, I get what she's saying. There are certain issues that only affect biological women, and that isn't being anti-trans women or whatever, is it? It's not. Why is it that we can't say that certain things? Well, obviously we can say it because I'm saying it right now. I'm saying the unsayable again. Right. Why is it considered wrong by certain sections of society to just state a fact that certain issues only affect biological women, and therefore they're like, you know, I think we can handle this, trans women, thanks, but, you know, we're all right. We're doing great.
And that's no surprise to any of us. I mean, I don't understand why we have to make a mockery of older women. And that's universal. You say to me, I'm offending people. Every time you get vilified because you're an old woman, and you only have to be 50, not very old. I'm now 80. I'm as old as you like. And you can call me senile and anything else you want to call me.
Yes, she's right. I mean, certain sections of the woke movement, they're funny because they're all about equality and standing up for equal rights and women's equality, feminism. And then the second you don't agree with the slightest part of their wild doublethink ideology, they turn on you and they use the very things, they try to dehumanize you. And she's absolutely right, I think. She makes a good point about older women and this sort of idea of the Karen. It's like their opinion, if they're annoyed about something, shut up, Karen. Okay, calm down, Karen. There is this dismissiveness towards women of a certain age. There is. And I think everyone does it to an extent. You know, if a fat person says something, you shut the fuck up, fat, you fat bastard. You know, it's just like a playground insult. But it is funny that it comes from the same people that are so, you know, body positive and supposed to be anti-ageist, supposed to be pro women. They'll turn on you straight away. J.K. Rowling has just been completely dehumanized over the last few years for making very just true statements, just stating facts, you know. And yeah, so I just thought I'd break that down for you in case in case Germaine Greer was confusing you a little bit. Anyway, let's listen to a bit more of her.
But I'm not going to be hijacked for this question of sexual identity, of gender identity. Look, I wrote a book a long time ago about how you get made into a woman. In those days, we called it conditioning. And you could see it happens from birth. Little baby girls are left to cry for longer than baby boys. They are fed for shorter periods than baby boys. We want them to be smaller than baby boys, and so on and so on and so on.
I mean, this is only a short clip from a longer interview. I guess what my problem there is what is the point that she's trying to make? Is it that that's a lived experience that women have that men can't understand, or that trans women can't understand? If so, yeah, I think I agree with that. I'd like to know what she thinks, though. You know, I could always read her books, I guess, or listen to the hours of lectures she's done over the last 50 years or so. But I'm not going to do that. What does she think? Are those things like, first of all, is that true? If so, I didn't know that. You know, we feed baby girls for short periods of time. and we leave them to cry for longer, and we want them to be smaller. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Is that all, as she says, conditioning, or is there something in us, innately in us, that wants that for women? And I guess it doesn't really matter if what we're talking about is the experience of women in their lives. Is, you know, that's stuff that they experience that men don't, maybe, I don't know. So, yeah.
And it goes right through our entire lifespan where we're learning femininity. And it's a masquerade. It's not who we really are. There is nothing feminine about being pregnant. It's almost the antithesis of that. There's nothing feminine about giving birth. It's a bloody struggle, and you've got to be strong and brave.
Okay, let me work that one out then. So, giving birth, being pregnant, there's nothing feminine about that. You have to be strong and brave. What's the point she's trying to make? That because you have to be strong and brave in that experience and femininity, the way women are brought up to be, doesn't prepare them for that. So what do they have to be, all walking around acting all hard all the time? Because we bear children. I don't know what the point is there. And I guess elements of femininity, yeah, are what she says, conditioning. You know, when you see this sort of ditzy Valley Girl vocal fry, that kind of a woman is. And when you see men imitating women and doing that, I'm sure that's very annoying. When you see someone like Dylan Mulvaney being a stereotype of a ridiculously overtly feminine woman, yeah, that's clearly conditioning, that's clearly fake. We can detect that, but surely certain elements of femininity are not conditioning. They are natural, they are innate. No?
There's nothing feminine about breastfeeding. God knows it drives everybody mad. They want to see nice, big, pumped-up tits.
Can we get a fact check on that? It's true.
But they don't want to see them doing their job.
Yeah, that's also true.
And it just goes on and on. That masquerade is what is now being presented to us back as the real deal. With the hair extensions and the false eyelashes. And you think, why do you think that's real?
Well, Germaine Greer gets my approval. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to hear that. I think she made some very good points. Anyway, remember to like, share, subscribe, all those kinds of things that help with the algorithm, you know. And I'll see you in the next one.
The giant cuttlefish. The largest of all cuttlefish. They have one last act to complete. To find a mate. But there are over 100,000 males competing for the arriving females. Among them, a giant, a true Goliath. This smaller male couldn't possibly take him on. Seems a small male wouldn't stand a chance. The female is now displaying a white stripe along her side nearest Goliath. It's a clear signal that she no longer wants to mate with him. It's all the encouragement that the little male needs. He's going to have to use trickery. He tones down his colors and tucks in his arms. He's just the right size to mimic a female. Goliath is deceived. The small male now displays a white stripe, just like the real female, to deter his advances. He slips beside her, and they mate.